Yesterday had been a victory. Why would victory change how people treated her? At the next compound gathering, Amoka told a joke she'd used successfully many times before. One of her reliable crowd pleasers. She delivered it exactly as she always had, with the same gestures, the same pauses. Laughter came, but it died halfway. It started with genuine amusement, then seemed to stumble and fade into uncomfortable silence. People smiled, but the smiles looked strained. Amoka noticed. Her own smile lingered too long, waiting for the response to catch up to her expectations. It didn't. She tried another joke, pushing harder, speaking louder. This one landed even worse. The silence that followed felt heavier than before. What had changed? These were the same people, the same jokes, the same her. But something fundamental had shifted. Zainab passed Amoka on the path near the compound well without greeting. Not rudely. Just neutrally, the way you might pass a tree or a wall. For Amoka, this neutral treatment landed like an insult. She had expected resentment. Avoidance. Maybe reconciliation. But this complete, peaceful neutrality. It felt like rejection in a way that anger never could. Anger would have meant Amoka still mattered. But neutrality? Neutrality meant irrelevance. Zainab, Amoka called out sharply. Zainab paused, turned partially, her expression politely questioning. You have nothing to say to me. Zainab's expression remained gentle. I have nothing that needs saying. Then she continued walking. Why did neutrality feel worse than hatred? Amoka found herself talking faster in conversations, interrupting people mid-sentence. Words tumbled out uncoordinated, rushed a gathering. She cut off Elder Chukwu 3 times in 5 minutes. The third time, he simply stopped talking and waited. Amoka, said Mama Adiku gently. Let him finish, please. The request was kind, but it landed like criticism. In the past, her interruptions had been tolerated, even expected. Now they were becoming noise. Disruption. When she spoke, people's eyes would flick away, checking others' reactions before responding. Her opinions, once accepted readily, now met with gentle questions. Nothing dramatic. Just small adjustments in how people engaged with her. Someone asked her gently to slow down. She laughed it off. But inside, something tightened. The community meeting happened without Amoka's knowledge. She heard about it afterward, when Mama Blessing mentioned it casually. That reminds me of what Elder Okonkwo said at yesterday's meeting about the new well project. Amoka's hands stilled. What meeting? The community meeting. Yesterday evening. I wasn't informed. Mama Blessing's face showed surprise. I thought everyone was told. It must have been an oversight. An oversight in a community where information traveled faster than wildfire. Amoka had somehow been overlooked. This had never happened before. Not once. Accidents like this didn't happen randomly. They happened when people stopped thinking of you automatically. Amoka stood before her small mirror longer than usual, studying her reflection with intensity. She adjusted her wrapper twice, trying to recapture some essence she felt slipping away. Her face looked the same. But something behind those eyes had changed. She added more jewelry than normal. Tied her head wrap more elaborately. If her words weren't carrying weight, perhaps her appearance would remind people of who she was. But when she stepped back from the mirror, satisfaction didn't come. She felt like she was performing the role of Amoka rather than being her. The jewelry felt heavy. The head wrap felt like a costume. The wrapper felt like armor. She didn't like what she saw, but she couldn't explain why. Everything was correct. Everything was in place. Yet something was missing. Sadiq returned to the village on a Tuesday afternoon, his arrival quiet but significant. He greeted people warmly, his smile genuine, his questions about family sincere. People responded with the respect and affection he'd always commanded. Amoka heard of his arrival within minutes. She prepared herself carefully, expecting the summons she'd received so many times before. She waited. The summons didn't come. Instead, late that afternoon, she heard from 3 different sources that Sadiq had sent for Zainab. That they'd spoken privately for over an hour. Amoka stood in her compound, the news settling over her like cold water. Sadiq had returned and his first private meeting had been with Zainab. Not with her. With Zainab. Amaka attempted to see Sadiq the next morning, arriving at his compound with carefully prepared explanations. His younger brother met her at the entrance, smiling politely but uncomfortably. Sadiq is resting. He's asked not to be disturbed. I only need a few minutes, Amaka insisted. He said to tell anyone who comes that he'll receive visitors later. He asked specifically that people wait. Anyone who comes. The phrase was general, but Amaka heard it as directed at her. Tell him I'm here. Tell him Amaka is waiting. I will tell him. But sister, you should wait. Maybe tomorrow. Waiting felt like humiliation. Being told to wait, politely but firmly, felt like the world tilting beneath her feet. Amaka began hearing her own name in conversations that stopped abruptly when she approached. Fragments of sentences that cut off mid-word, to the market. Two women went silent as she passed. At the well, younger women scattered. She caught her name followed by laughter that died when someone noticed her presence. She was being discussed, analyzed, judged in her absence. Before, conversations about her had carried respect, admiration, even if mixed with envy. Now the tone had changed. She could hear it in the quality of the silence when she appeared. They weren't respecting her anymore. They were studying her like a problem they were trying to understand. Control was slipping. Not dramatically, but steadily, like sand through fingers. Amaka raised her voice during a compound discussion, attempting to reclaim the authority her volume had always carried. She spoke over two other people, her words sharp and definitive. No one gathered. People continued their separate conversations. Someone asked her politely but firmly to please wait her turn. She tried again, louder. What I'm saying is important. Mama Adaku responded without malice but with firmness. We will hear you, Amaka. When others have finished. We take turns. We take turns, as if Amaka was just another voice among many. As if her words carried no more weight than anyone else's. Power no longer responded to volume. The tools that had worked her entire adult life were suddenly, inexplicably ineffective. During a solemn moment at a community prayer gathering, Amaka laughed. It wasn't intentional mockery. She'd misread the room, thought the elder's comment had been humorous when it was serious. Complete silence fell. Every head turned toward her. Eyes carried disappointment mixed with confirmation of something they'd already been thinking. I'm sorry, Amaka stammered. I didn't mean. But explanations felt useless.